Hello and welcome to the Kieran YouTube channel, where today we will be unboxing our first ever Ace submission. Stick around to the end of the video to get my honest thoughts on Ace, and also to give you a bit of an in-detail explanation on how to submit with them. Obviously, anybody in the UK at the moment, PSA currently isn't submitting, so we're having to look at alternative options, Ace being one of the best in my opinion. But before we get into today's video, please do make sure to drop a like. Leave a comment as well. I will be picking one comment from the comment section to win a prize. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots and lots of Pokemon related content getting uploaded over the weeks and months. Okay, without further ado, let's get straight on into it then. So it comes in this lovely little box, which I do like, with the Ace Grading branding on it. Let's do the opening. Let's try and not destroy our setup. Okay, we've got 5 cards in today's submission. Let's put them down there without trying to reveal them. Okay. There we go. All right, let's start off with the first one. Let's try and cover it up so we can't see. Okay, so here's the first card, all right? So we've got En's Zoroark EX from Journey Together. I'm nervous. A 9. A little bit disappointing with that. Obviously, it is from the newest set. I was hoping for a 10, but aren't we all? Still a really cool card to have in a slab. And I just love on Ace how they do the custom printed labels to match. So first one is a 9, but we move. Let's go on to the next one. Next up, we've got a bit of an older card here. We've got Blaziken from Ruby and Sapphire 2003. So this is a much older card. I'd be very surprised if this gets a 10. It's 22 years old, this card, but let's see what we get. Another 9. I'm not really surprised with that one. I think, you know, for a card of its age, a 9 is still decent. It's 22 years old, this card. And it's just a really, really cool card to have. So I'm happy with that one in a 9. That's, you know, it's not the end of the world. Then we've got the chase card from Journey Together, Lily's Clefairy EX. One of the most cool cards, I think, in the recent. Definitely my favourite card in Journey Together. Let's see what we get here then. Another 9. Okay, bit of a theme going on here, isn't there? Bit of a theme going on. You can, what I do like with Ace actually, is you can actually get a report where it tells you exactly why it got the grade it got. So I will be having a look at that after the show, and I might do another video on that to kind of break that down for you. All right, now this one here is an absolute beauty. Umbreon Gold Star from 2021 Celebrations, Holo. This is probably my favourite card of the set, so if this gets a 10, I'll be absolutely chuffed. Here we go. It's a 10. So happy with that. Such a cool card. I've got a couple of Umbreons from Prismatic and from the Japanese version of Prismatic, so that can go nicely in my Umbreon collection. So yeah, really, really happy with that one. Gem Mint 10. And then we have the Blastoise, the big boy Blastoise from Japanese 151 and a 10. Not bad. So from our first ever Ace submission, let's try and not destroy the cards here. We've got 3 9s, as you can see, Lily's Clefairy, Blaziken and En's Zoroark. And then we got 2 10s, which were Blastoise and Umbreon. Now, just to give you a bit of context on how much this all costs, just so you can kind of understand. On Ace Grading, I think they have 4 different tiers. They have Standard, which is £10. They have Ultra, which is 12. They have Premium, which is 15. And then they have Ultra, which is 25. These 4 cards went through the £15 tier. And it took, I think it's 5 to 10 working days. So it was pretty quick. I only submitted it, I think, not last week, the week before. So I'm really happy that you can get cards back that quickly. Because obviously, even when you do use PSA, if you're doing it in bulk, it can take, I think it's anywhere from 45 days to 60 days. So it takes a very, very long time. Obviously, I know PSA is worth more and all the rest of it. But I do honestly think that I think the Ace is on the up, and I think the fact that they have these custom labels, it just adds a lot. Like when you compare an Ace graded card to, say, my Pikachu Van Gogh, right? I know PSA has been around for a long time and it's got a good reputation, but like the stickers are pretty underwhelming when you think about it. When you compare that to, say, this Charizard that I've got, look at the sticker on that Charizard. It's so cool. So I think for me personally, Ace definitely is better in that sense, visually, aesthetically, from a collector's point of value. Ace is amazing, but I know a lot of people in this hobby are mainly focused on, maybe not mainly, but are very interested on value, and obviously Ace is generally worth less than PSA. So, like for example, this might be worth £100, in Ace, whereas it might be worth 20, 30 pounds more in PSA. So there is a bit of a price difference. And, you know, if you come back with a 9 on one of these, some people would be tempted to crack it and send it to PSA, because that is always something you can do. You know, there's always these old tales that PSA's grading system is all over the place, and it depends on how well the person's day's going, and it depends on whether they've had a good breakfast, or, you know, you hear these crazy stories about the PSA grading system and that it's very unreliable. And you even hear some people who will send off a card to PSA, right? It will come back a 9, and then they say, you know what, I'll send it back to PSA and see what happens, and it comes back a 10. So I don't know, I'm not sure how much I believe into that. I think at the end of the day, graders are humans, and there is always going to be human error, and one person might say it's a 10 and another person might say it's a 9. So maybe that does work. But generally, I think if you're going to get a 9 here, then you probably are going to get a 9 at PSA. And it's just whether it's worth cracking it, potentially damaging the card, sending it off, waiting 60 days for it then to come back as a 9. I personally won't be doing that with these cards, just because I do like to have some Ace in my collection. I've got a lot of PSA, but I do like to have some Ace. And I think the Ace is on the up. Obviously, Randolph is behind it, or one of the part owners, and he's got a massive following. And I think once it breaks into the American market, there will be a lot more demand for Ace. But at the moment, obviously, PSA is just the front runner because it's easier for American people and the value's higher. So I can understand the Americans' logic. Why would they pay more money to make a card less valuable? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Whereas for us living in the UK, I don't know where you are watching from today, but for those of you living in the UK, obviously sending to PSA is a bit of a nightmare, and it takes a lot of time. And at the moment, because of the ongoing tariff wars, you can't actually submit to PSA if you're living in the UK. So that will change, and by the time you watch this video, we might be through that. But at the moment, submitting to PSA from the UK is not currently possible. But just to go back to Ace, I think as a whole, I know it's got a bit of a bad reputation at the moment because of issues with customer service. But this was my first experience with Ace, and I could not say a bad word about it. I really like that they have a submission portal, which means that once you submit your cards, you can see every step of the development. You can see when they arrive, you can see when the labels start being printed, and you can even see what grade it gets before they get sent to you. I personally didn't do that with these because I like the surprise of opening a box and seeing what I get, but you can do that. So you can have a look on the computer before they ship it, and it will tell you what grade you've got. So if you are one of those people who can't wait, that's quite nice. Whereas again, if you compare that with PSA, you send the cards off and you literally don't hear anything really until they come back like 2 months later. And, you know, you're wondering if the cards have arrived. You're wondering whether they've started grading them. You know, it's a complete, you know, sending a package off into, you know, on a boat across the sea and hoping that it's going to come back, you know. But I mean, obviously it does come back, but you know what I mean. I do like the fact that Ace is a little bit more, you can follow the process. The price is about the same as PSA. There isn't a massive price difference in the cost to grade. But like I said, if I was to have this in a PSA 10, which I do have somewhere in my collection, it would be worth more in a PSA 10. So if you're new to the hobby and you're somebody who's literally just doing it from a financial perspective, which is completely fine, you know, people have different reasons for doing different things, then I would say go with PSA, but just be prepared to wait for like 60 days. And it depends. If you have enough money to continually grade cards, then send them to PSA and wait and be patient. But if you're somebody who is relying on selling the cards to then buy your next card, I would give Ace a try. And just to say as well, I'm not sponsored by Ace. This is no way affiliated with Ace. I'm just giving you my honest thoughts on Ace as a whole. I have maybe got a slightly different agenda because I've only started using Ace recently. And obviously I know in the past Ace did have some minor issues, let's call it, with customer service. And I know that they got burgled and there was all sorts of things happening which have maybe tainted people's opinions on Ace. But I'm recording this video in April 2025. This is my first Ace submission. Even though I got 3 9s, I'm still happy. I'm happy with the service they provided. I'm happy with the cost. I love the labels. I think like the Lily's Clefairy one, for example, is so cool. The Blaziken one's a little bit underwhelming, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the Charizard one, I think it's pretty cool as well. So yeah, this has been a little bit of an overview on Ace. If you have any questions, you can drop us a message on Instagram or whatever. And just to say as well, we are streaming on Whatnot 2 or 3 times a week. So if you do want to come and join our Whatnot community. I'll put a link in the description where you will get £10 off, completely free, £10 free off your first purchase with us on Whatnot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading lots more content like this over the coming days, months and years. Please do make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I have been Kieran. You've been watching the Pokey Kieran YouTube channel. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.